welcome back to the Sad Dad Games podcast. I'm Shan.
I'm Eric.
I'm Tucker.
And I'm Emerlie.
Well, today we're going to be talking about the Switch 2 and the hardware and things that we're playing right now. So it's a little break from the normal banality of our regular episodes, and we're going to just be shooting the shit on things that we are enjoying right now.
Just chatting about the Switch 2. This was one of the things where I was like, hey, instead of an indie episode, can we just spend an episode talking about the Switch 2, please? Because as everybody who's talked to me for more than 5 minutes knows, I was very excited about the Switch 2 launch. And we're a little late to the party. It's a few weeks after the actual console is released, but we wanted to have some time to really play with the console and yeah.
Speaking of which, I just got my invite from the Nintendo store today to purchase my Switch 2.
Oh, are you going to get another one? How exciting!
I'm going to get another one. No, I
pre-ordered buy just stockpile them. Yeah.
Yeah. So
eventually you'll be able to scalp it.
Yeah. So if I'm here getting that invite today, I'm excited because I think there's going to be huge just uptick in Switch 2.
Hopefully.
Purchases and playings and.
Yeah, I'd love for there to this console to get into as many hands as want it. Like, because I feel like right now there are a lot more people who want the Switch that weren't able to get their hands on it. So
yeah, it's kind of like the PS5. It's like
it'd be great.
Yeah, like the PS5 when we all got it, it was like
it was a mess.
Oh, I don't know. I feel like it was almost a year before there was this like people were able to get it after the initial pre-order.
It took a long time. We talked about it on a previous episode, but Lundy has a particularly harrowing story about getting his PS5. I don't remember which episode that was, but yeah. No, so the Switch 2 seems to not be quite as crazy as that, which is good. But
well, conveniently, some policies contemporaneous to now led to a lot of stock being diverted to the United States, and so we actually kind of benefited from that in a weird way.
Yeah. Like tariffs are going up. All of these consoles that were going to go to other places, send them all to the States. Yeah.
So I don't know.
Worked out.
Catch 22.
Yeah.
Does that work?
Unfortunate for other places, but it worked out okay for us. We did get that small price hike for accessories, but not too bad.
We have the most disposable income, and if there's any other burden on the cost of the console going up due to tariffs, that is for the whole world to absorb and not just us. And I like the market dynamics on this from an entitled point of view.
It's working out really well for us.
Yeah, well, it was very cheap for me and did not affect me whatsoever. I was totally okay with that price, whatever it may be.
Whatever it is, give it to me.
I really got a crazy deal. Yeah,
I got a crazy deal. Insane.
Okay.
Well, we're going to go ahead and launch this conversation just by talking about the general hardware, just some things that we like about the Switch 2 hardware, some things that maybe we don't like about the Switch 2 hardware, and just kind of break it down and talk about it. So the bullet points that I have are just some of the basic features, starting off with magnetic Joy-Cons. I feel like this is a huge improvement over the rail, like the sliding rail system. I always found that my Joy-Cons got pretty wiggly on my Switch 1. Especially I had like big chunky third-party Joy-Cons because I've got big hands. And so I found that connection was really wiggly, but the magnet ones have been really sturdy and solid, and there's something really satisfying about snapping them on and off. So big fan of the magnet.
And you don't have to worry about the slide thing, putting it on the wrong way, and then having to use like a butter knife to pry it off.
And then it's stuck there forever.
Was that an issue?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So like if you like the black slide
for dumb
thing
people
with
and Tucker.
For me, that can't match up the plus and minus symbol properly. No, I did it like first time I tried to do it, didn't realize I had to match them up. Thought it would just be universal slide on. Slid it on super hard, got stuck, had to watch a YouTube video and use a butter knife to flick a little thing inside of it, and that Joy-Con was never the same.
That is incredible, and I can't believe that's an issue. I went from
when I got the PS5, and it's like I was like, why isn't it reading the disc? I just got this, and I thought that it was burned. It turned out that the PS5 actually goes the other direction. I was putting it upside down. It doesn't look like it's supposed to sit that way.
It sits, it's a weird orientation for the PS5.
Every single time I'm like looking around trying to find symbols on the console that actually tells me which way is the right way up. So yeah, PS5 is very confusing. But I went from a Switch Lite. I have played on a regular Switch here and there that our other brother has. but I mostly went from a Switch Lite to a Switch 2. So I didn't have that issue with, trying to jam in these Switch controllers. But I really love the magnetic. A lot of people are worried about how flimsy it is. I think it's held up really well so far. It feels really sturdy. I also saw a video online of a guy who kept purposely, as he was taking off the controllers, he was pulling down on it instead of just pulling straight out, purposely trying to cause wear and tear. And it seemed like it was holding up really well that way too. So I've been very impressed.
Yeah, magnetic Joy-Cons are, I think, the right call, and big fan. I think that there was like an interview where they talked about trying to do magnetic Joy-Cons for the Switch 1, but they couldn't quite get it to work right. So I'm glad that they figured out for the Switch 2.
I like that it makes the satisfying Switch snap sound.
So satisfying.
It's like they reverse engineered a way to make that work.
That's the exact point I was trying to make. Yeah, just the sound is satisfying.
They took
really good.
They took that sound that they use for branding, and they're like, yeah, how do we make this actually exist? So it does kind of sound like that iconic clicking sound.
Yeah. I never had a problem with the wiggle of the original, but they always did like slip off the rail.
If you bumped them or something, they'd just pop right out.
Jeez.
So big fan of that. I like the larger screen and the larger form factor. I feel like it's more comfortable to hold in my hands. The larger screen is really nice. It doesn't feel overly large. I will say, though, that it is a little bit of a bummer to go from, because I had a Switch OLED before this, it's a little bit of a bummer to go from an OLED screen to an LCD panel. But as far as LCD panels go, it is a pretty nice one. It looks really nice, looks really sharp, has good viewing angles. But, OLED is obviously always preferable if you match it. But I feel like they'll release a hardware refresh several years from now where they'll have a Switch 2 OLED edition, and I'll obviously get that one.
Obviously.
Yeah, I'm never a fan of playing in handheld with the Switch 1. I have found myself very much enjoying playing handheld in the Switch 2 because of the larger screen. It feels a little bit more immersive and just, I'm not squinting and doing the old person, phone thing.
I find myself using the controller, so those who are interested in getting one, it does come with this controller, and you can remove the Joy-Cons and attach it to this. So I find myself switching to this a lot more because I find the Switch 2 is a little too heavy for me. Not that I have delicate little wrists, but I do have carpal tunnel from overworking my hands too much. So I did find that the obsessive playing that I was doing, especially the first couple days, it was too heavy for me. But I love
nice
this.
That they've got that kickstand too, so you can, even in handheld, you can set it up on a table and then use a control. I do that sometimes too, which is nice.
I have my Switch too, if people are actually watching, just so we can kind of show all these different features. So yeah, the kickstand is really nice and sturdy. You can adjust it to all different ways, and it's really heavy duty. So it doesn't feel flimsy, and if you set it down, it won't just slide open. Maybe over time with wear and tear it will, but I don't know.
It has similar hinges to the OLED Switch models, and I never experienced any kind of wear or tear on that one. They're pretty solid hinges. So yeah, and I used it in tabletop mode a lot. So I think it should be okay.
Yeah.
I'm no prick about like obsessing about the quality of screens and visuals. I give more leniency than the PC master race. That's how I would put it, right? Like I can notice something
slightly better than Hitler
obsessed.
Is what you're saying.
Yes, exactly. I don't want to genocide. But the first thing I noticed, and so it was just the easiest low hanging fruit was the screen's just not bright. Coming right off the first Switch, it's like in the OLED, it's like this screen just feels perpetually too dim, even at its brightest. And then I haven't noticed the ghosting issue that everybody's starting to notice.
What's the ghosting issue?
Oh, it's just like, it's something about frame time and
the Switch doesn't call you back.
There's some frame persistence issue where if you're scrolling, it's easier to see. Maybe in Fast Fusion you can see it, but like there's a little bit of ghosting to an image, and
I haven't noticed that either.
It's basically impossible for normal people to notice unless they're coming from high FPS or high refresh rate and then jumping to this screen, but otherwise you'll normalize pretty quickly.
Yeah, I would say like that might concern some people hearing, about all the frame rates and all that stuff. And, a lot of people are picking apart the Switch too and comparing
it.
it.
A rage bait title.
Yeah, rage bait. Exactly. But there are some people who are too obsessed with that.
There's ghosting for the 0.1% who can see it. 0 out of 10 stars.
Right.
It's the worst console ever.
So for those who maybe are not as experienced with high tech, I don't see this issue.
I haven't either.
Shan and I have a brother who is special kind of autistic, and his special interest is frame rates and screens and sound quality. And anytime he goes off on these incredible rambles about how no tech lives up to his expectations, I just stare at him and I'm like, I don't know what you're seeing. I literally can't see what you see. So I've had a lot of back and forth about frame rates. And again, I'm going from a Switch Lite. This is incredible. So maybe don't be too concerned about people complaining about that stuff. They might be a special kind of autistic.
No, but people like him, I feel like he could get it and be like, this looks really good. I'm going to go watch 100 YouTube videos that tells me what not to like. And then suddenly my opinion is their opinion.
Yeah, he does also kind of do that.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate because it's a super cool console. Big fan. Already.
Beautiful screen.
Super fan.
Yeah. The HDR, even if it's fake, quote unquote, it's still pretty nice.
Listen, it doesn't look it can't get to the quality, HDR quality that an OLED screen can, but it looks really nice. And they even, like in the Switch Welcome Tour, they have some HDR demos, and it's pretty clear that like the difference that makes. So, and we'll talk about Switch Welcome Tour in a minute here.
Okay.
I want to just touch quickly on a couple other things. Improved rumble and the Pro controller. I was flabbergasted by the improved rumble. I liked the HD rumble in the Switch, but I felt like it was kind of underutilized. And then I got the PS5, and they have that the sensory, really nice tactile feedback and the responsive triggers. Switch 2 doesn't have responsive triggers, but the improved HD Rumble 2 feels comparable to that. What is it called in the DualSense controller? The haptic feedback. It feels comparable to the haptic feedback. I've been very happy with the Rumble in the Switch 2. I think it's great.
Well, that's what the HAP and haptic stands for. Happy Eric.
Happy Eric. That's the HAP and haptic.
Yeah, I love the haptic feedback. I think that's part of the reason why Mario Kart has been so addicting. And I realize I think it's the way it feels in my hands. And it's great.
Big fan. And then I want to give a quick shout out to the Pro controller. I've got some recency bias going on for sure, but the Pro controller might be my favorite controller. It feels fantastic in the hands. It's just the right shape. It's got a really nice texture to it. It's the first time where I've used like the programmable paddle buttons on the back of the controller. I use it when I play Cyberpunk. It's the first time I found it useful. And it's just a really well-built, really nice feeling controller. The joysticks feel really smooth and excellent. It's a fantastic controller.
Is that the one, Shan, that you had me use? That's the Pro controller? I don't know. I don't have a controller.
I brought the regular and the Switch 2
Which
Pro,
was the one that you made me play?
I don't know. You probably played on both. But if I was playing, then I was taking the Switch 2 controller.
Okay. Yeah, one of the controllers you had me
The
try
one that was butter smooth.
buttery smooth.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. That is a great controller.
Yeah, it's the best feeling controller, but PS5 still has the best feature set.
Yeah.
But this is the best hand feel.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably true. The PS5 has some more like those the responsive triggers and the more versatile haptic feedback. But,
Yeah, I agree. Best hand feel controller that I felt in a long time.
So Pro controller is awesome. Totally worth the money. I will say that probably my only big hardware complaint, and it's not even a big one, my only real hardware complaint with the Switch 2 is that the battery life is a little on the low side.
Yeah.
It is a much more powerful console, so it makes sense that the battery life is not as good as it was before. But for those of you who remember like the launch of the Switch 1, the battery life was pretty much the same as it is here. It was between like 2 and like 5 to 6 hours. for the original release of the Switch 1. And so you get about that much out of this one. It's between 2 and about 5 or 6 hours. So with the, like, they released an upgraded model of the Switch 1, and they released the OLED model of the Switch 1 that substantially improved battery life. So coming off of the OLED Switch, it is kind of noticeable to have a lower battery life, but it's not awful. It could be better, but it's not awful.
Kind of in that same note, something I wish they did is being able to lock your controllers into this. I wish I could plug this in because I use it so much. They
do have like a grip that you can buy that's like a rechargeable grip, but you have to buy it, so it doesn't just come in the box.
Right. Yeah. I just wish that this, because it is locking in with the magnetics and it's got like, you know, a little thing right there. I wish I could simultaneously plug it into USB-C and charge this while I'm playing. Because there's been several times now where I have to completely stop playing my game and reattach it just so it can charge for a while. I only have the one controller.
Battery life isn't a problem with people like us, like me, who only gets like 1 to 2 hours a couple times a week to play anyway. So it just depends on your
Because you're a sad dad?
Yeah.
I'm a sad dad.
You're busy being a sad dad.
That being said, the Pro controller seems to be matching the battery life of the Switch 1 Pro controller so far,
which is fantastic. It lasts for like 60 hours or something crazy.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous amount. Yeah, I didn't charge it for like weeks and it still had juice in it.
I haven't charged my Pro controller yet. I charged it the day I got it, and I'm still going on the same battery. Yeah,
that'll be my first investment then.
Yeah,
they're great.
Definitely worth the cost.
I had planned to talk about some Switch 2 features. I think I want to skip that. We're just going to talk about some of the games that we've been playing. So some Switch 2 games that we've been playing. Let's talk a little bit about Mario Kart. Mario Kart's great. I love the new Mario Kart. I love the open world. I love the interconnected tracks. Just having a great time with Mario Kart.
So I thought I was really going to hate the racing between racetracks. That's a big new feature with this version of Mario Kart.
That was new to me, so can you explain that if someone's watching this, what you mean by that?
Yeah, so Mario Kart 8 and before, you would race the same track, do 3 laps, and then move on to the next one. In Mario Kart World, because it's all connected, between racetracks, there's a kind of a mini race in the middle of that as you go from one track to the next. So you're always driving in Mario Kart World, which is fun, and just those new races start off kind of like NASCAR, where all the cars are already driving, so you're not at a standstill. So you're
got that rolling start.
Going. Yeah, you're rolling start, and then the countdown hits, and then you go. So it's kind of I think it's the update Mario Kart needed to not be so repetitive, because Mario Kart 8 was such a big success on like 20 different consoles, it feels like. And, had how many expansion courses? They had 8.
It doubled the. Yeah. It has twice as many courses as any other Mario Kart 8 does.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But yeah, this feels like the refresh the Mario Kart franchise needed.
Yeah,
same. I agree.
I mean, I've sort of played Double Dash in 8 very few times, and so I'm mostly going from 64 to Mario Kart World, so it's quite a jump for me. And I did like no research on this game or the Switch 2 because I didn't think I was getting it. So when I first was playing the first couple tracks with Shan and some of our family, it took me a while to catch on, but it's like we would start another track and I'd be like, this track looks like the last one. Like both of these are winter themed. That's weird that it's not like that much of a contrast. And that's when Shan was like, no, this is an open world and all of the tracks are connected. And so you have to go from the track you just did to the next one. So it didn't even pick up on that right away. It took me a while to catch on.
It took me until day 2, and everybody's like, yeah, that was in the trailer. I was like, yeah, I didn't watch the trailer.
Yeah, apparently. Shan doesn't watch trailers.
It wasn't lost on
I knew I was going to buy it, so.
Yeah, also fantastic knockout mode.
I love
that's
knockout.
I hated it.
Such a fun way to do it.
I was bad at it.
Refresh to the franchise.
Yeah, I love it. It's just one big long race, no interruptions, no anything. It's just So you start at the beginning and you race from one side, like through courses from one to the other, usually through like 5 or 6 courses, I think. And at the, like when you reach certain thresholds, everyone below a certain place count will be cut off. So it's like if you're in 20th or higher, then you can keep racing. Everyone below that will get cut off. And the next one is like 16th or higher. And then you just try to get to the end and try to win. And I love it. It's so fun. Like I love the idea of just having a race to go across in this big world from just start to finish and not just do like the standard racetrack cup races.
Yeah. Fantastic Rainbow Road. I think my favorite since N64.
Beautiful.
The Rainbow Road in this game slaps. It's awesome.
It is so good.
Especially like
Rainbow
launching
Road
into
vibe.
it.
Oh, yeah. The transitions to some tracks are just so freaking awesome. It's amazing. And I don't know. Open world. I think I was going to like the free roam. But that was surprisingly addicting and calming.
Yes.
Just to drive around and get your little lunch sacks to try to unlock different outfits.
Yeah, I feel like I'm always surprised by how much time has passed when I'm playing free roam, and then I look at my watch and I'm like, oh man, I've been playing free roam for 3 hours.
Yeah, there's a lot to do in free roam, and I didn't expect to enjoy that as much. Like, I didn't try it for, I think, the first 2 days or so. I just kept doing regular races. And then I finally did free roam, and it's so cool because the main menu, when you're deciding if you're going to do, versus or single player, you see your character that you mostly play as just driving, and if you hit a button, it'll transition so seamlessly into the menu just pulls away and you just zoom in into this character and you're already just riding, and it just drops you in a random place on the map, and you can just go around and do all these really fun things. There's a lot of challenges that you can do, and some of them are really hard. And I've spent hours just trying to tackle some of these challenges. Some I've gotten frustrated and I'm like, fine, I guess I'll leave this for later because I don't want to rush through all the challenges too fast anyways. So I really enjoyed that. And then, have you guys seen the UFO yet?
Yeah, that one caught me off guard.
Yeah, you can find a UFO and you can control it for probably about 60 seconds. You can control some vehicles here and there, but you can find a UFO kind of hidden up on a hillside behind a bunch of fences, and you can control the UFO very temporarily, but you can, if you go out, you can find the cow character just free roaming on the map as well on his little bicycle, and you can suck him up into the UFO. And I just love little things like that just keeps you interested in the free roam. And so, yeah, you're right. After hours, you're like, oh, shoot, I need to take a break from this game.
I've been playing this for too long.
Yeah.
So Mario Kart World is a great time. We love that one. Have any of you guys tested out or tried Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom on the Switch 2 yet?
I haven't yet.
Briefly. So I booted them up both briefly just to kind of like, I played Breath of the Wild for about 30 minutes just because I wanted to see it. It's like a whole new game. With the HDR support and with the 60 frames per second, playing at 1440p, it looks and feels like a whole different game to play. So I'm really excited to go back and play through Tears of the Kingdom again because I played it once at launch, and I've been waiting to play it again because I was hoping that there would be like a Switch 2 refresh for the game, and there is. So I'm excited to go back and play that one. It'll be a good time. Another one that I've been playing is I've been playing a little bit of Cyberpunk 2077. That game is crazy on Switch. It doesn't feel like it should work on Switch. And there are some minor frame hiccups here and there, but the image quality is really good. The visuals are really nice. Performance is like really excellent for 95% of the time. And it just feels like another one of those Switch impossible ports. I've been having a great time playing Cyberpunk. I probably spent the most time playing Cyberpunk on my Switch 2 than any other game.
I don't know anything about Cyberpunk. Why do you say it shouldn't work on the Switch? What do you mean by that?
So it is an incredibly graphically demanding game. That they released versions for like the PS4 and Xbox One, and then for the PS5 and Xbox Series consoles. It ran okay on the Series consoles. It runs really well on PC. It ran like garbage on the PS4 and Xbox One. And so the fact that they were able to optimize it and get it working on the Switch 2 feels almost impossible. It doesn't feel like the game should work as well as it does.
Yeah, for context, when they launched Cyberpunk, it was the CD Projekt Red. I believe they primarily target PC first and then scale down. And like they had such a disastrous launch that PlayStation or Sony had to recall the games.
They
Shan,
recalled
didn't
it.
you
They
get
stopped
your
selling it in
copy
the digital store. Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
Shan,
so
didn't you
I-
get your copy stupid cheap because you couldn't give that game away at launch.
Yeah, so I waited until everybody threw their games at GameStop, and then I went and got it, and it was like $8, and it's much more expensive now. They've they invested like, I don't know, $100 million in fixing the game and fixing the engine, and putting in a lot of free updates. And at one point they completely released a 2.0 version of the game that changed the entire gameplay loop. So it's a completely different game than it started as. And so they put a lot of time and effort into Cyberpunk and the engine, and now that engine scales really well. And so for context, Switch 2 is less powerful than the PS4, and on PS4 and Xbox, like, that thing ran like a potato.
I had no idea. Yeah.
But it runs great on the Switch too.
It looks
Super
amazing.
impressive. Yeah. Another one that I played a little bit was I begrudgingly picked up Switch 2 Welcome Tour just because I felt like I had to check it out. I was mad that it was $10. I think it's stupid. They shouldn't have charged for that game. So I'm just going to go ahead and get that out of the way. It should have been a free pack-in game for everybody. It should not have cost $12. That being said, I had a pretty good time with it. It was fun.
So Welcome Tour is actually a game? I don't know. I thought it was
It's like a tech demo.
It's like a Temu Astrobot.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
is
exactly
it like
that.
Astrobot? Because that was
It's like
that was a
Astrobot,
great
but
showcase.
less. But it's not like Astrobot is more of a game, and then the Switch 2 Welcome Tour is like a showcase where there are little micro games that show some of the features. Like you can use the mouse controls, and you can like see the rumble, and it walks you through and like shows you everything new and cool about the Switch 2, which I thought was really interesting to like see all of the new features laid out and have like mini games and tech demos showing me like what was in there. One of the things that it was talking about is like the Switch 2 is now capable of 4K output on the like compatible screens. And so one of the mini games is you play Super Mario Bros. 1-1, like the very first level from Super Mario Bros. But each pixel is just one pixel on a 4K screen. And so they can contain that entire level on one screen. And so you play through this like teeny tiny version of the game just to kind of illustrate like, this is how many pixels 4K is. I thought that was fun. So I don't regret buying it. It's a bummer that it cost me money at all, but I had a good time with it. It's fun.
interesting.
Yeah. Now let's talk a little bit about backwards compatibility. Backwards compatibility with the Switch 2 has been pretty great. Just for fun, I've tested out a few games. There were some free updates for games to make them more compatible with the Switch 2. Games like Link's Awakening and Echoes of Wisdom, Mario Odyssey, Mario 3D World, and Bowser's Fury, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, that all got Switch 2 updates that make them native Switch 2 games, so they run really well. They have smoother frame rates. They improve the resolution. And I tested all of those ones that I own, and they're great. They're super fun. Like all of the frame rate issues from Link's Awakening and Echoes of Wisdom are just gone. I haven't played Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, but based on what I've been hearing is that game is visually runs a lot better now. But artistically is still pretty ugly because, you know, you can only polish a turd so much. But
It's a very shiny turd.
it's a very shiny turd now, but
Still
it's
smells
still
like
a turd.
poopy.
Yeah. So I was really happy with those Switch 2 patches. And then even games that didn't receive native Switch 2 patches, that the Switch 2 is able to just kind of brute force a better performance out of them. So like games that run at a variable resolution, where when the action gets heavy, the resolution would dip down to 540p or, you know, even lower than that. Games like that, like the Doom and the Wolfenstein games, that just doesn't happen anymore. They maintain a rock solid resolution, rock solid frame rate. So even games that didn't receive a specific patch are running and looking better in a lot of ways. There are some games that ran at uncapped frame rates, like Hyrule Warriors and Darksiders 3 and stuff like that, that ran at uncapped frame rates but could never quite hit those 60 FPS. But on the Switch 2, now they can, and they look and play great. So been super happy with that. I tested out a few of those and they're just a good time. So yeah. And then one that I'm really excited to talk about is the GameCube games and controllers. I was super excited about the GameCube games. They released 2 of my favorite GameCube games with the launch of the Switch 2, which is Wind Waker and Soul Calibur. And they also did F-Zero GX, but I'm not a huge F-Zero guy. But I was over the moon I've been playing Wind Waker a little bit with my kids on my GameCube controller that I got for the Switch 2. It's so fun. Shan and I played Soul Calibur 2 earlier today. Did some versus matches. That was a great time. Like, so fun. I love revisiting these old games that I used to play, especially doing it with a GameCube controller is fantastic.
Oh, Eric, does Soul Calibur 2 still hold up for you?
Yeah, Soul Calibur is still a super fun game to play. I mean, it shows its age in some ways, but like, it's a pretty solid fighting game I think it holds up really well today. Still very fun.
Yeah, Shan and I played it on his GameCube, I don't know, a few months ago, and I fell in love again. And I was like, this is maybe one of the most perfect fighting games.
It's so good.
Did you play on his GameCube in his basement with his fancy old TV?
It was his first old TV that we played on until he got his fancy new one.
Yeah, this was my first CRT I picked up for like $15 on Facebook Marketplace. So the reason that I ended up ditching it for a different one is just because it had visual distortion that I was uncomfortable with when I'm just playing a 2D game like Link's Awakening. It's like I could see as he walks in the middle of the screen, like the background was distorting. I was like, I can't do that. I'm not a snob, but come on,
guys, some level of quality.
I paid $15 for this thing.
Get it together.
Also, it weighs 200 pounds. No, not really, but when I got my GameCube controller, first thing and only thing that I've done with it is I hooked it up to play Mario Kart so that I could get some nostalgia around that controller, and it was broken. I played it for a couple hours and the drift just kept getting worse and worse. Turned out it has gyro built in. And,
and no one told
surprise.
Nobody told. They didn't advertise it, and so I just slowly, as I was playing, was leaning over more and more in the couch, and I was like, "Why am I having to push left the whole time that I'm driving?"
Joy-Con drift is back.
Yeah. I'll have to return this. This really bums me out. They're on back order, and then I just sat upright, and everything was perfect.
Problem solved. So GameCube games, super cool edition. Big fan of that. And then just real quick before we close out, any future games for the Switch 2 that you guys are excited for?
Bonanza and Prime 4.
Yeah, those are the big ones. Yeah. Donkey Kong Bonanza looks awesome. Metroid Prime 4 looks awesome. Those are the big ones for me too.
Silk Song.
Yeah,
Silk Song. That game's never going to actually release.
Yes, it is. I believe.
Maybe a little bit deep cut new 007 game for the Switch.
Oh yeah, that one looks fun.
Yeah.
So is that coming out on Switch too?
I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was a PlayStation game.
I'm hoping that they have a little GoldenEye multiplayer hidden in there.
That'd be fun.
Slaps only version?
Yeah, slaps only. That'd be so much fun with the Joy-Cons.
Yeah.
Slaps with the Joy-Cons.
Oh, that would be really cool, actually doing that and being able to...
You could play as Oddjob and go like this to throw your hat. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm in the camp of you know what, I'll probably like it. I'll still probably really like the game because I really want a spy game. I don't feel like that genre has been served at all in a decade or two. However, I'm in the camp of you're pandering to Gen Z with this young James Bond. Bond needs to be 40 or 50.
He does have kind of a Gen Z face, which, you know what? I'm not going to judge the game on that until I play it. But that was the first thing I noticed too. I was like, ooh, you look like you're 19. So we'll see. Maybe that's not as big a deal as it seems like. But
on what's it called? Digital Foundry, Richard Ledbetter made a good point. He's like, at what point was he supposed to become the sophisticated, well-trained spy that he is?
At the ripe old age of 20. Yeah.
It just doesn't add up. He's the 7th best spy in the world.
Maybe he's got baby face, Maybe he's 45 and he just looks 20.
Yeah.
I mean,
That could be
especially
it.
as a video game, it's one thing to choose an actor and be like, hey, you're going to be our James Bond for the next 20 years. And so we need to start at a young age. Kind of like Tom Holland coming in with the Uncharted movie, and they made him way too young. So they could keep
still
it
not a
going
fan
for
of
a
that.
long time.
But not like
but
that's
it's
not how it works in video games.
Yeah, video games, you can
You can make
choose
your face
a
whatever
face.
you want.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Aren't
too
they
young.
aging? What's this? Norman Reedus for Death Stranding 2 considerably.
It looks like it.
Yeah, and so yeah, he looks a bit like a soy boy. I liked the criticism. He looks like a Marvel character because he has Marvel
It
face.
does a little bit.
Yeah, but I'll still like it. It's IO.
Yeah, same guys that make the Hitman games.
And
yeah.
they make an amazing sandbox assassin game.
So that'll be a fun one. I forgot about that one, but that one looks like a good time too. So.
Oh, also, if they don't release Prime 2 and 3
what are they
between
doing?
now and 4,
Yeah.
then they can eat ass.
I can't believe that they haven't released them already.
It's just not accessible.
It's so weird that they have, because it's like, here's Metroid Prime 1 that came out of, like, that they re-released a few years ago. And now Metroid Prime 4 is like one of their big flagship games for the Switch 2. But it's like, where are 2 and 3? What about the people who never played 2 and 3? I've never played 2. I would love to play 2.
Yeah. Where do you get it? You have
Yeah.
to go back to the original hardware. It
Or you
was
have to
never
emulate
ported.
it.
Yeah. And so, like, Metroid is a struggling franchise as far as the adopt rate goes, and Dread was the highest.
Yeah, Dread did really well
It
for a
did-
Metroid
did-
game. Yeah.
And so, like, there's just like a success that came with Switch just being such a high selling console. But the Switch 2 is new. Like, I don't know, they better put out, because I need Metroid to blow up in a way that Zelda did when Breath of the Wild came
Want
out.
so bad for Metroid to be like a household Nintendo game, because they're all phenomenal games. There's not a bad one. Well, that's not true. Other M is really bad. But almost all of Metroid games are really solid, really great games. And so it's like they're just good games that more people need to appreciate. So
Yeah,
give us 2 and 3.
And I was gonna emulate them like years ago, but then I heard about the Prime 1 remaster, and I was like, okay, well then they're probably gonna give us 2 and 3. They have to, right?
Yeah.
And so I've just been sitting on them. I have them ready to emulate, or I actually have the hard copies too, but no, they keep baiting me with this, and so I'll wait until the 4th one's released to be like, okay, now I have to play the originals.
Yeah. Frustrating.
It is.
Get it together, Nintendo.
Go f yourself.
Yeah, how far are we removed from the original Metroid Prime 4 announcement? Because I feel like that got announced like the beginning of the Switch.
It was one of the first games that they
generation.
announced for the Switch 1, and then it had to restart development like about 4 years after they announced it, like halfway through the Switch 1's life.
Yeah.
So it's been like 8 or 9 years.
Yeah, I had it pre-ordered on Amazon, and it got canceled on me, obviously. But they put it back in Retro Studios' hands, so I'm happy about that.
It was being handled by a different studio, and Nintendo like looked at it and was like, "We don't like what you're doing. We're going to scrap all of it and give the game to a different studio."
I think they were like even doing some like innovative ad hoc thing where they were just like farming out assets to other studios to do, and then trying to smash it together to make a game.
That's not how Nintendo rolls. Yeah, it's all
Yeah.
about quality over quantity.
And then Retro had, I think, just come off of Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, and they were able to roll them into this game instead.
Yep. So Switch 2, we're big fans. Lots of fun. A couple little niggles here and there, but nothing too big. It's a great game. It's a great console. I'm really enjoying my time with it. So big fan.
Yeah, I've been doing emulators, so I've not played a lot of the like other games, mostly just Mario Kart, and I've been emulating. Let's see, I just beat Earthbound finally. I've always wanted to beat that one, and then Oracle of Seasons. So even just like having the
Oracle of
cheap,
Seasons is great.
yeah, well, it's my first exposure to it, so it was pretty good. I just beat that, and now I'm just doing Harvest Moon because I need some cozy games to calm myself down. I got really anxious with the other ones, so. Yeah, cheap membership, and I have access to a lot of the older games, and when I'm ready, I'll pay for maybe like a higher membership, and I'll, and then you'll have access to stuff like GameCube and N64, but I'm enjoying playing a backlog of these games that I grew up with that I've seen my siblings play, but I've never actually played myself.
All right, guys. I think that's going to do it for today. Thanks for joining us for another episode. I guess it's not Eric's Indie Corner. Shan needs to take us out. Shan, take us out.
Oh yeah,
Shan's
thank you for
Corner.
joining us. Yeah, this is Shan's Indie Corner.
Yep.
Off Eric, and that's why I flew out here, was to steal Eric's show.
Yep, 100%.
But that's going to do it for us today. Please like, comment, subscribe, and follow us wherever you follow podcasts, and watch Eric's Indie Corners when I decide to give that back to him.
Yeah. So maybe never.
Yeah.
Okay,
Really
bye.
liking this power. Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Outro. Bleepy doof, bleepity, bloopity blow.